Did you know you can obtain a temporary 100% evaluation under paragraph 29 and paragraph 30? In today's video, I am going to be explaining both and giving examples. Make sure you stick around. Before we get into today's video, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and notification button. So, paragraph 29 and paragraph 30, temporary 100%. So, if you're not, let's say, overall 100%, let's say you're at 90%, and you're hospitalized, or you have a surgery for a service-connected condition, you can get a temporary 100%. So I'm going to share a few slides with you and walk you through how you get it. Slide number 1. Here in slide number 1, I'm taking you to the M21-1, okay? But I want to remind everybody, as I go through these slides, I did not copy the entire M21-1. Some of these were really long, but I made sure I copied some of the most important parts, okay? So this M21-1 covers hospitalization under 38 CFR 4.29, also known as paragraph 29. And it states, periods of hospitalization at a Department of Veterans Affairs, VA, or an approved hospital, or hospital observation at VA expense in excess of 21 days for medical treatment of a service-connected disability. There it is, folks. Has to be service-connected. Or a disability requiring hospitalization in excess of 21 days for medical treatment for which compensation is payable under either 1151 or 1160. So 1151, that is for benefits for persons disabled by treatment or vocational rehabilitation. Now, I've seen veterans going to a VA hospital and they screw it up, okay? I've seen some really horrible cases, okay? So that's what they're talking about under 1151. 1160, special consideration for certain cases of loss of paired organs or extremities. Now, when it comes to these two, 1151 or 1160, this is where the veteran is going to have to invest the time and go out and do that research to see if they qualify, okay? In the notes section, competency must be addressed when assigning a temporary 100% evaluation for a mental disorder under 38 CFR 4.29. So what does that mean? If you look at, I want to say it's the last page on the mental health DBQ, and ask the question, can the veteran manage their financial affairs? If it's yes, it's good to go, okay? So they're not going to propose incompetency. If it's no, then they have to do what is called a proposal of incompetency, all right? A lot of vets get confused. They're married and they'll say, oh, well, my wife does all the bills. But if you weren't married, can you manage those bills? Yes. So you don't want to tell them no just because your wife manages the bills. If you can do it, you want to make sure you check that yes box, okay? Second bullet comment, hospitalization in a uniformed services facility, also known as a military treatment facility, is considered an approved hospitalization for the purpose of determining entitlement to a temporary evaluation under 4.29. So if you know you're going to be hospitalized more than 21 days, you need to come here, invest the time, look at M21-1, the 38 CFR for 4.29. Let's keep going. Slide number 2. Here in slide number 2, when provisions of 38 CFR 4.29 do not apply, treat it as a resident in a state veteran's home, okay? Currently receiving a total rating for the disability for which hospitalization was required. okay? A resident in a VA domiciliary program, or a participant in a live-in workout program being utilized to facilitate transition to community living. Again, this is different for each veteran. You have to come here and see, okay, do either one of these bullet comments prevent me from obtaining 4.29? If you got to sit there and guess and be like, oh, maybe you might want to ask somebody. A lot of people ask me, and I'm like, I have to look at all that evidence, all that medical evidence. You know, is it at a state home? Is it at a, VA facility? All that is what raters are looking at to make that determination. Let's keep going. Slide number 3. Here's slide number 3. 38 CFR 4.29, rating for service-connected disabilities requiring hospital treatment or observation. This is the 38 CFR. A total disability rating, 100%, will be assigned without regard to other provisions of the rating schedule when it is established that a service-connected disability, there it is, service-connected disability, has required hospital treatment in a Department of Veterans Affairs or an approved hospital. So if it's not a VA medical center, but a regular medical center, but the VA approved it, that's what they're telling you, you still qualify for a period in excess of 21 days or hospital observation at a Department of VA expense for service-connected disability. It has to be service-connected for a period in excess of 21 days. If you feel you qualify, you need to be investing the time, go out to the VA's website, the M21-1, the 38 CFR, do that search for 38 CFR 4.29 to see if you qualify, okay? Now, what you want to, the type of evidence that you want to get, the date that you went into that hospital and the date that you left, and you need to start counting. Is it over 21 days? Is the condition service connected? If it's yes and yes, do you meet these other parameters? Submit the claim. Let's keep going. Slide number 4. Here in slide number 4, we're switching over to paragraph 30, okay? So if you meet, see these 3 bullet comments? If you meet one, it doesn't have to be all of them, one, you can be service connected. Now, let's look at bullet comment number 3, immobilization of at least one major joint. I rated a case one time where a veteran had surgery on an ankle and they were in one of those boots, walking boots, right? And then the examiner or the surgeon said, okay, you can remove the boot, but then they had, it was like a shoe, but it was weird. It was blue and it had like a white sole and it was flat, and they were in that. And so I was like, okay, I know I can grant the temporary 100% for the time they were in that boot, but what about that shoe? So I had to reach out to the QRT team, and I showed them the medical evidence that the veteran submitted, and they said, yes, that covers it as well, all right? So in this case, you might want to reach out to someone and ask them, someone that knows, and ask them, does this particular device qualify? If no one knows or you can't find anybody, go ahead and submit the claim and let them tell you yes or no. And if you disagree, in the notification letter, they will explain your options as what you can do as it pertains to an appeal. All right, let's keep going. Slide number 5. When the provisions of 38 CFR are not applicable. The first bullet comment, a temporary total grading under 38 CFR 4.29 is in effect at the time of hospital discharge. Now, what does that mean? Let's say you're in the hospital for a separate service-connected condition, and you've been in there for 2 months, and the examiners say, you know what, while you're here, we're gonna go ahead and give you your knee replacement. And while you're in there, you have that knee replacement, okay? So what they mean is they're going to give you that temporary 100% for paragraph 29, but you're not going to get that temporary 100% for paragraph 30. They can't stack it. That will be pyramiding, okay? It's simple, people. Raters are looking for the date you went in for that hospitalization, the date that you left. Now, here's another example. Let's just say you leave the hospitalization after 48 days, okay? Then a couple of days later, you have a major joint replacement. That temporary 100% is going to flow together. There won't be any break, depending on when you went in for that particular surgery, okay? So let's just say you exited the hospital March 29th, and on April 1st, you have that major joint replacement. Let's just say it was a knee replacement, okay? That 100%, that temporary 100%, is just going to flow through. There won't be any break there, okay? Let's keep going. Slide number 6. Here in slide number 6, this is the 38 CFR for paragraph 30. A total disability rating, 100%, will be assigned without regard to other provisions of the rating schedule when it is established by report. Okay, that's what they're looking for, those reports, at hospital discharge, regular discharge or release to a non-bed care, or outpatient release that entitlement is warranted under paragraph subpart A, 1 and 2 or 3 of this section. Now, if you look down below, I have those highlighted. Surgery necessitating at least 1 month of convalescence, okay? Surgery with severe postoperative residuals such as incompletely healed surgical wounds, stumps of recent amputation, immobilization by cast without surgery, or 1 major joint or more. I gave you an example of that. Key thing here to keep in mind, service connected. It has to be service connected. Okay, I think that was pretty simple, but I know a lot of veterans are going to be confused. First thing you need to think about, service connected. Is the treatment more than 21 days? It is at a VA medical center or an approved location. Paragraph 30, service connection. Now, this is where it gets dicey because, for example, a knee replacement. Years ago, you were going to get 12 months, temporary right off the bat. That was it. Now, that's no longer the case. So veterans have to be a little bit crafty. You need to ask that examiner, hey, how long am I going to be off work? Do I need any physical therapy? And what do you think I am going to need as it pertains to going back to work, but having restrictions? And if the examiner says 4 months, okay, so you're going through those 4 months, you have a hiccup, right? Whether you have to stay in physical therapy, additional 30 days, and not have to report to work, or you report to work and you're on restriction longer than what you anticipated. So let's just say the doctor says 4 months. You need to gather all that, have that doctor to write that letter for 4 months. But on that 3rd month, it needs to be extended. So you go back to that examiner and say, hey, you said 4 months, I need you to write another letter basically stating that the convalescence need to be extended 2 months because of X, Y, and Z, and have that proof. And when you submit it, the VA should say, okay, instead of giving you 4 months, now we're going to give you 6 months. That's the nugget. When I rated, that's what I was looking for. Those dates, that information from the examiner, and a lot of veterans did not get that correct information from that examiner. Therefore, they were lowballed on that temporary 100% as it pertains to paragraph 30. With that being said, make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and as always, Share this video with your fellow veterans. Thank you.